viewers of Kritika's Vision, hope you have subscribed my channel, and if not, please do so, as these videos posted on my channel will help you understand history in a better way. So this will be a helpful video for you. Now in this video we will discuss a little bit about the Sarajevo crisis that we have done in the previous class, as how Bosnia was annexed by Austria and Bosnians mainly wanted to unite with Serbia because they were Serbians by origin. Now this led to a feeling of revenge in the hearts of the Bosnians. So this revenge got fulfilled when on 28th of June 1914, Archduke Francis Ferdinand and his wife were assassinated at Sarajevo, that is the capital of Bosnia, by whom? By an assassin whose name was Gavrilo Princip, who was a Bosnian. Now the assassination was planned in Serbia by a secret society of patriotic terrorists, and that was Black Hand. Serbia was blamed and a strict ultimatum was imposed upon them by Austrian government. Now the Serbian government refused to accept some of the points of ultimatum. Why? Because it went against their sovereignty. As a result, Austria declared war on Serbia on 28th of July 1914. So this is how ultimately the World War I started, in which most of the countries of the world got plunged. Now the course of war. Austria declared war on Serbia on 28th of July 1914. Then Russia mobilized its troops to defend Serbia. Why? Because now again you have to recapitulate how Russia had promised. Maybe the secret promise was done that they will help Serbia. So they jumped into the war to defend their ally. Because of this, Germany declared war on Serbia, and seeing this, Great Britain declared war on Germany. So this is how that there were 5 major powers, Austria, Germany, Russia, France and Britain, joined in this open warfare, and this made it a world war. Now later Turkey and Bulgaria joined the side of Germany. However, Italy left the side of Germany and joined against Germany and Austria. Japan came into this war because Germany, it was aiming that it will capture German colonies in Far East. So this is how most of the countries got involved into the war. Now the question arises, how the superpower, how a major country like America got involved into this war. So basically the thing is that America was not part of this war, but due to one reason it got involved in this war, and that reason was, yes, the reason was that Germany launched submarine warfare against Britain, and Britain had its newest fastest Atlantic liner ship Lusitania, which was sailing from New York for Liverpool. So this particular liner was carrying passenger both from European countries as well as specifically from America. Americans were also there. Yes, correct. Americans were also there. Now Germany, who was in this mad race of increasing its warfare and introducing new submarine, which it was good at. Now this submarine, a few miles when this particular ship was off the Irish coast, it was struck by torpedo from submerged U-boat of Germany. Now the people of United States were shocked that why their counterparts had been killed. Why? They were not part of this war. Why Germany took this revenge from them? Why Germany did it to them? Okay. So because of this, Americans became very angry and America declared war on Germany. This placed at the disposal of the Allies America's huge resources, both in men and money. Now such resources on any side when gets added to, definitely it increases the strength of that particular side. So the side on which there was Britain, Russia and France, their side became much stronger due to joining of America. So now there was no doubt that the war, which was inclining towards the side of Germany, now it was finally there, and finally it was making the side of Great Britain much more heavier, and this made everyone guess that which side would finally win the war. So this is how the total scenario changed. While Germany was seen so powerful in this particular war till now, till first 3 years, till 1917. After this particular incident that took place and America joining the war, it became clear that it was the other side, not the German side, which had an upper hand in this warfare. Now, ultimately, because of such pressure, Britain, France, and US launched a massive military offensive in July 1918 on Germany. Now, the German emperor couldn't take it, okay, because this massive money, power, everything was so much providing pressure on him that he was not able to carry forward his journey. So the German emperor Kaiser Wilhelm lost hopes in winning the war. Okay, so what he did, he abdicated, he left his throne, and he fled to Netherlands. Now, because of this, Germany became a republic, and the newly formed government signed the armistice. Now, armistice is an agreement which is signed between two fighting nations or two sides, where they decide that now officially they will stop fighting. So this armistice was signed on 11th of November 1918 to mark their surrender to the Allies. So finally 11 November 1918 was the date when World War I ended. So this World War, which was for its first kind of thing, it ended, but there were repercussions and consequences. Yes, we shouldn't forget it. So as the armistice was signed, the Treaty of Versailles was also signed on 28th of June 1918 in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles in France. So basically an agreement was signed, and those who played active part in writing the terms of the agreement included British Prime Minister, then Lloyd George, President Woodrow Wilson of US, George Clemenceau, the French Premier, Orlando, and of Italy. Okay, so basically they were known as the Big Four. So for exam, this Big Four and the picture given on page 258, where the Big Four has been shown, who attended the Paris Peace Conference, that Orlando of Italy, Lloyd George of England, George Clemenceau of France, and Woodrow Wilson of US, they were very important part of it. Now, what were the terms of this treaty? The first term of this treaty was war indemnity. Yes, you guessed it right, war penalty. Now, the treaty declared Germany as guilty of whatever had happened, of all the aggression, all the destruction that the entire world has faced. And she had to pay a very heavy sum, estimated at $33 billion as war indemnity of repression to the Allies, or reparation to the Allies. Okay. So Germany had to give a huge amount of $33 billion to the Allies because it was found sole guilty. It was correct or not, that we'll discuss later, but Germany was found sole guilty for it. Next is the Rhine Valley. So basically the area of Rhine Valley, which was under German, was demilitarized, and Germany could not maintain or construct any fortification there. Okay, so that means it cannot be done. Nothing of security can be done by Germany to secure that particular place as their territory. That means that territory was kept open for everyone. Okay, so to guarantee execution of territory, German territory west of Rhine were to be occupied by Allied troops for 15 years. So because nobody was trusting Germany. So though Rhine Valley was demilitarized, there was for 15 years, there were troops from Allied side who were keeping a watch that whether Germany is following the treaty, the terms or not. Then Alsace and Lorraine and Saar Basin. So basically the treaty brought some vital territorial rearrangement it did, and it benefited France in many ways, because France, the age-old Franco-Prussian war that they fought, okay, France got back now Alsace and Lorraine, which she had lost in Franco-Prussian war in 1870s, right? Next is to compensate France from deliberate destruction of her coal mines. She was given full ownership of mines. So whatever destruction France faced, it was given the full ownership of coal mines, and a district adjoining Lorraine for a period of 15 years. And another way the treaty benefited France was that Togoland and Cameroon, which were there in west of Africa, were partitioned between Britain and France. So this territorial arrangement was also done. Next coming Schleswig. So the fate of Schleswig was taken away from Denmark in 1864 and was determined by plebiscite. Plebiscite is a kind of public voting. So the northern zone voted for incorporation in Denmark, while the central zone voted for incorporation in Germany. So that's how parts of Schleswig also went to the Allies. Now, Eupen and Malmedy. Another major territorial rearrangement was that Germany had to surrender the areas of Eupen and Malmedy to Belgium, and the city of Memel went to Lithuania. Okay. Then independence of Poland. The newly created state of Poland, which got independence, got back all the territory she had lost in the war, and almost whole of West Prussia were also included in this Polish state. Now, to provide Poland with a port, the German city of Danzig was internationalized. That means again it was kept open as a free city and placed under the protection of League of Nations. What is League of Nations? That we'll discuss later on. So Germany lost basically all her colonies and overseas possession. Beside territorial losses in Europe, Germany lost all her colonies and overseas possession. Okay. So these were the few things that happened to Germany as terms of Treaty of Versailles. There were a few other things that happened. That is, Germany's military strength was crippled. Yes, you heard it right. That Germany which was building its military strength, weapons, everything got crippled because everyone was doubting. Nobody was trusting Germany. So German army was restricted to a force of 1 lakh soldiers. Navy was limited to 15,000 men and 36 ships, and the Air Force was totally banned. So no submarines were allowed. So Germany was neither to make nor to purchase from outside any tanks or armored cars. Then even regarding supply of coal, Germany had to supply huge quantities of coal to France, Italy and Belgium for 10 years. So more draining of resources from Germany. Then several countries gained independence, and the complete independence of Belgium, Poland and Czechoslovakia was recognized by Germany. So now there were many countries which gained independence, and the last that we'll discuss, which became a major point later on, was the criticism of the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so criticism happened, but before that we'll discuss about the League of Nations. If you remember, when we were doing the causes of World War I, one of the cause was there was lack of a particular agency or a particular body which will stop war, bring peace. So this time finally the Pact of League of Nations was added to the Treaty of Versailles. This was a peacekeeping organization was made. However, this Treaty of Versailles was severely criticized. Okay, why? It was criticized because why everything was given on the head of Germany. The principle at the root of this victory was, to the victors belong the spoils and the allies are the victors. So the German representatives had to sign the treaty under force and coercion. So the Treaty of Versailles deprived Germany of all its colonial possession. Lot of compensation was imposed upon it. War damage in form of war damages. Her military, her naval, her army, every strength was crushed, crippled. So the peace arrangement therefore broke down Germany under Hitler, showed aggression in political activities. Now this became an important cause of next World War that the world would have witnessed, and that was World War II. So basically we will discuss till here in this video, where we discussed about what happened after Sarajevo crisis, how the war started, how America entered into the war, how the war stopped, and when it stopped, and what were the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. Now in the next lecture series, please stay tuned as we'll discuss further about the territorial rearrangement that was done and other results of this war, and in detail the League of Nations as a peacekeeping organization. Now the question will be whether this League of Nations really adhered to what it was meant for, or did it fail in its accomplishment, did it fail in whatever it has the reason why it came into existence. So for all these things, stay tuned to Kritika's Vision.